Still a lot we got to talk about. What is up, Finn fans? So yesterday's post-game video, which came out late last night, I read all your comments. The good ones, the bad ones, people calling me a fraud, people saying bad things about me, good things about me, bad things about the team, good things about the team. I read all the comments. And some people are upset that I didn't go harder on Tua, right? Because I said he didn't do good enough. I said they took the middle of the field away, took his reads away. I talked about, he didn't do well. He didn't do good at all. He's part of the blame we lost, right? It wasn't enough. Some people were like, you're playing the defense, yada, yada. So this video is not, I just want to make this clear. I'm not making this video because of those comments. I was planning on doing this video. I was planning on, while I was doing the postgame in my head, I was planning on talking and making a video specifically for Tua to see what's going on with him the past 2 weeks. So a lot of people were jumping to conclusions in those videos and wanting me to, and I said it. If you guys go back and watch the video in the beginning, I said, if you are coming here expecting me to bash Tua the entire video, you're going to be upset. It's because I had this planned. I had this planned where I'm going to go more in depth talking about Tua, talking about the offense and what happened the past 2 flipping weeks. And that's why I was talking more about the defense in the recap yesterday. But again, I kind of talked about that, and I did mention Tua, and I did say he didn't do enough, and I did talk about all that stuff. It just, sometimes people, and I get this, right? Dolphins lost bad. I was pissed. A lot of you guys were pissed, and I get it, and I understand it. And when you don't hear what you want to hear in the moment, you kind of, push it out and then get mad. And I get it. 100% get it. Because I do the same thing all the time. But in this video, we're going to talk about Tua. And we're going to talk about Tua a lot. Because the past 2 weeks, he has been off. And is it because... But here's the thing, right? Because a lot of people say, well, he only did well against bad teams. The Lions, the Bears, the Browns, and the Texans. Some people think that he didn't do well in the beginning of the Bengals game. I disagree with that. He had them moving up and down the field. He had the dumb interception, which I talk about. But he had them moving up and down the field. If not for a Chase Edmonds drop touchdown, he would have left on the injury, and they would have been up 10-7. Did well in the Bills game. Obviously, we know what happened with the Ravens game. I don't think he did. And go back. I'm getting labeled so many things, and it makes me laugh. Go back and watch the Patriots post game, please, and come back and tell me what I am. Please. I would appreciate it. But a lot of people are wondering what's going on with Tua. Does he only play well against bad defenses? That's not the case, because the Chargers defense yesterday wasn't that good. So it's like, we need to was it because it's prime time? Was it because the playoffs are on the line? Does he choke in the big light? Obviously we beat the Steelers, but he didn't play too well in that game. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered. I'm going to try to answer them, right? Where I'm going to sit here and try to answer them. Because normally with the deeper dive, normally the Monday after the games, I do a deeper dive, and we look at stats and where we're ranked here and there. And obviously, real quick, I'll pull up, the playoff picture. But again, it hasn't changed. Nothing has changed when it comes to the standings. We're still in second place at 8-5. The Jets are 7-6. The Patriots haven't played yet. So if the Patriots win, they'll be at 7-6 in third place. And we're 1 game ahead of them. And then when it comes to the Bills, we're 2 games back, right? And then the playoffs, it hasn't changed. We're in the 6th seed. We got 4 games left, 2 on the road, 2 at home. We play different on the road. We play different at home. I honestly, yesterday said I expect them to go 10-7. If the trajectory that they're playing, and if the way they are playing away versus home, the defense plays different way home, and the offense kind of plays different away home. This is a home team. I think their home stand. I think at home they're 5-1. On the road they're 3-4. So I expect them to go 2-2, right? 10-7. They ain't going to win the division. And if the way they were playing the past 2 weeks, they're not going to win the division. 10-7. That'll get them in the playoffs. I think that'll get them in the playoffs. Because you look at the other teams right now, you have the Browns are 5-8, Pittsburgh's 5-8. I think the Ravens and the Bengals will get in the playoffs. Then you got the Titans 7-6. No one else in that division is going to get in the playoffs. Then you got the Chiefs 10-3. They're going to win that division. The Chargers just beat us. They might make the playoffs, and there's 3 playoff spots. And we play the Jets. So, it might be the Dolphins, the Ravens, and the Chargers, the last 3 playoff spots. Because, again, we play the Jets and the Patriots. But this video is not about that, right? This video is not about that. This video is about the offense and about Tua and about what the flip is going on with it. I'm going to talk about Tua. Let's get to Mike McDaniel real quick. I don't know. His play calling is, and again, he's a rookie head coach, right? So for a rookie head coach being 8-5 right now, it's good, right? No one really probably expected Mike McDaniel to be at 8-5, to be in the situation he is right now. And again, I'm not going to talk about the defense because I talked about that yesterday and I explained all that yesterday. But his play calling in certain situations, the way he abandons the run, and then also the offensive line, right? We expected better from this offensive line. Teron Armstead is obviously not 100% with his pectoral injury, and it showed yesterday he wasn't 100% with that pectoral injury because there were some blocks that he missed. We were facing the worst rush defense, and we couldn't run the ball. He abandoned the run, but it seemed like he had to abandon the run because we couldn't run the ball. And then we kept getting put into long down situations because we were getting tackled for a loss. So it's like, the thought process with Mike McDaniel, right? Because he's our offense coordinator and our head coach. Also the flags, and I'm not even talking about the ones that were bad in critical situations, are still a problem. Now, the wide receivers, obviously Jalen Waddle's a little banged up. Obviously, Tyreek Hill was a little banged up. They were drops, but that wasn't the problem, right? They weren't getting manhandled. The defense of the Chargers called the right plays. But Tua, right? Tua was off against the 49ers. There was something wrong with Tua against the 49ers. If it was the pressure getting to him, and I'm not talking about the pressure of playing in Levi Stadium, and some people will say, oh, it's the pressure of trying to win from Mike McDaniel. If that's the case, that's horrible. That shouldn't be a reason for you to play the way you're playing. But he was off. His throws were off. He was missing wide open people. He threw a dumb interception over Tyreek Hill. Like, he was just off and bad. And then yesterday, right, it was either like the Tyreek Hill play where he didn't know where the ball was. That could have been a touchdown. But then there's other plays where to Sherfield, they say he was throwing it out of bounds. But why? There was times where he had a pocket and he would get frazzled. I don't know what's going on with Tua. There's something going on with Tua that he's getting antsy in the pocket, right? And again, we're going to break down film tomorrow, so we can look at it more. We could talk about it more. I can show you different things because again, the Sherfield pass where he threw it out of bounds in the live stream, a lot of people were like, "Oh, he's just throwing it away. He was just throwing it away." There was 4 defenders by Sherfield. If there's 4 defenders by Sherfield, maybe somebody else was open. And you guys also pointed it out. He was trying to hit Tyreek Hill a little bit too much. If I look back at the stats from yesterday, he was trying to hit it's like he was forcing it to Tyreek Hill a little too much. Tyreek Hill was targeted 10 times, caught 4 of them. The next highest target was Jalen Waddle with 4. Like, sometimes it seems like he's trying to force a play to somebody. Oh, the play is called for this. I need to get it there. And I noticed that. I noticed that against the 49ers, and I noticed that yesterday that he'll try to fit one in even if the person's not open. And again, that's why, like, going over the film breakdown is easier for me to, like, oh, should have thrown it here, should have thrown it there. But while watching it, I'm like, I don't know what he's doing. And again, we can't sit back and say, oh, it's because the Chargers have a good defense. Because no offense to the Chargers, They don't really have a good defense. They had 2 sacks. 2 sacks, 4 QB hits. Their defense was banged up. No Derwin James. No Bosa. Like the Dolphin offense should have feasted on the Chargers. Now, the San Francisco 49ers, that's a horse of a different color, right? They have a good defense. And at one point, you know what drives me nuts? And I just noticed this. Obviously, I noticed it before, but it's almost the same exact score as last week. It's almost the same exact score as last week. It's like they figured us out. They figured the Dolphins out. And we're screwed. You know what I'm saying? Because it's the same exact score as last week. 17-33, 17-23. Now, obviously, they kicked the field goal. There was the sack fumble for the touchdown. And then the field goal that gave them the 10 points. Before that, 17-23, both games. Something's going on with Tua, and something's going on with the offense. Like, the man was playing lights out where the national media was like MVP conversation. His completion percentage. And you saw it. Yeah, it was against bad defenses, but he was making the throws. He was putting the touch on the ball. He was staying in the pocket. He was scanning the he was doing the right things. Now all of a sudden they go on the West Coast and he is just a different person. And again, I can break it down and I can talk about it on when we do the film breakdown, but again, He was a part of the reason the Dolphins lost for the past 2 weeks. He was more of a reason against the 49ers. I think the Chargers was a team collapse on the offense. And obviously he had a big part of that. I think he was more to blame for the 49ers game because he was missing wide open guys. At least this Chargers game, he was hitting guys in the hands and there was a good amount of drops. But he still is just, I don't know what's going on with Tua. And the Dolphins are in a situation, say Tua craps the bed. Say Tua completely craps the bed. We lose the next 4 games. We don't even make the playoffs, right? And in that situation, it's like, I don't know how you come back from that. I don't know how you keep Chris Greer. I don't know how you, like, that's a situation where you're like, something drastic needs to be done. But say that happens, right? You can't move on from Tua. We have no first-round draft picks. What are you going to trade? Who are you going to draft? You know what I'm saying? They got to bounce back. Like that's all at this point with the way things are going. That's all you can say. They got to bounce back. Now Buffalo next week. I don't know about Buffalo next week. Again, prime time, Saturday night. I said this in the post game. We got flexed for a reason. Watched. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying I'm expecting it. Watch Tua come out and play lights out against Buffalo in Buffalo. Then all of a sudden, this whole narrative that and it's not even that's being made up or that's being pushed. It's what's happening the past 2 weeks with Tua just gets flipped on its head. And then all of a sudden, we're back to, what is Tua? You know? But I wanted to make this video to kind of dive deeper in on Tua and kind of talk more about Tua and try to figure, and it's hard to figure out because there's times where he gets pressure in his face and he avoids it. And again, we'll break it down in the film breakdown. He'll avoid it and he'll make the throw, or he'll avoid it and he ran for the first down. He ran more. I think he was the second rusher, ran like 3 times for 28 yards. He ran more this game. Yesterday's game. But it's just, yeah, three carries, 28 yards. I don't know. Because it's any given Sunday. And again, he wasn't facing a good defense against the Chargers. But the Chargers, and I said this yesterday, so that's why it always makes me laugh when people are like, why are you defending Tua and why this and da 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 da. I got called a fraud. My channel's a fraud. I said this yesterday. Took away the middle of the field. They forced Tua to throw to the outsides, and it messed up the whole thing. I said this yesterday. I said all these things. But I get told I don't do things when I do things. But Tua, and he needs to bounce back, but I said that after the 49ers game, and he didn't against the Chargers. And now we're expecting him to bounce back against Buffalo in Buffalo. With White back. With Poyer back. I think Poyer's back. I know one of their safeties back. Their defense is getting better. Mike White couldn't do anything against them. The defense is getting better in Buffalo. It's going to be a hard one. It's going to be cold. It's going to be in the 40s. Possibly raining. Possibly. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Like I said, we'll break down the film to go over more of what's going on with Tua, but he's off. I don't know what happened. I don't know, because I'm trying to remember the Texans game. He was pretty good in the beginning of the Texans game. Yeah, hit Durham Smythe on a good play for a touchdown. He was all right. Maybe it was the bye, now that I'm thinking about it. Because he had one touchdown to Durham Smythe for 4 yards. The other was a rushing touchdown. And then Xavier Howard fumble return for a touchdown. Other than that, it was a lot of field goals. Maybe it was the bye. Maybe the bye messed him up somehow. I don't know. Because, again, this is going back to the Texans game. It wasn't, fantastic. I don't know. We got to figure it out. Some people think he's done. Some people think he's a bust. Some people think we need to move on. I'm not there yet. And again, I'm going to get called a Tua or Tua stan, an apologist, this and that. But also we can't. We don't have any picks to trade for a quarterback. We can't draft a quarterback. But this next 4 games are pivotal. The next 4 games are not only pivotal for the Miami Dolphins, the next 4 games are also pivotal for Tua Tagovailoa. He needs to show that there isn't anything wrong with him. He needs to show that he knows how to win at the back end of the season. That's what Tua needs to do with these next 4 games. So again, the title of the video is probably Miami Dolphins, what's going on with Tua Tagovailoa. There's something going on with Tua, whether it's his confidence, whether it's the offensive line. And again, not the offensive line isn't blocking, but there's something, his clock is sped up. I don't know, but Mike McDaniel, Darrell Bevel need to sit down with him and they need to fix whatever's going on with Tua. Because if the offense keeps sputtering the way they are, we are not beating the Jets, we are not beating the Patriots, and we are not beating the Buffalo Bills. And we probably won't beat the Packers, because the Packers have a pretty good defense as well. They need to fix that, figure out what's going on with Tua, and they need to fix it. Because he is the driving force of that offense, especially with the style of offense they're accustomed to, that they were doing before the bye week, where they were just lighting people up. So overall, that's my thought process on what's going on with Tua. There's something going on with him. It's started after the bye, because go look at the Houston Texans game that I'm looking at. He had 1 touchdown. Other than that, it was a lot of field goals and other things. They need to sit down with Tua. They need to figure out what's going on with him, and they need to fix it. They need to bring back the Tua from the 5-game win streak. And I'm not one to say, oh, it's the teams he faced, because he didn't face a good defense. Look what the Lions did to the Vikings. Look what the Texans did to the Cowboys. See what I'm saying? It's any given Sunday. That needs to be fixed. But I appreciate you guys. Again, I listen to you guys. I read your comments. I take criticisms to heart. Makes me better. It makes me a better YouTuber. Makes me a better content creator for you guys, especially for the Dolphins. So don't stop commenting. Don't stop telling me, hey, you're leaning too far this way, or hey, it's coming off this way. I read them and I appreciate it. Even if they're angry, mean, nasty, I read them. Don't be nasty, but I read them. Love you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow in the film breakdown. But like usual, stay classy. Events up.